Have you ever watched someone, let's say a partner, a friend, a co-worker, completely shut down in the middle of a conversation? Or maybe they just overreacted to something small, like a simple question or even a delayed text, and you were left wondering, where did that come from? Maybe you have seen someone avoid closeness, keep everyone as at a distance, or act like they are perfectly fine when deep down they are clearly not. Now, here's the twist. Sometimes that someone might even be you, and none of it means there is something wrong with them or with you. Many of these behaviors are silent signals of something much deeper. What if I told you those are not just personality traits? They might be signs of unhealed trauma, the kind you didn't even know you were carrying. This video is not meant to label you. It's not about judgment. It's about clarity. Hi, I'm Dr. Katia Batista, psychiatrist. This is another chapter in the trauma series where I have been exploring different aspects of how unresolved trauma shows up in our lives. If you haven't seen the previous chapters, I invite you to watch them as well. Each one brings clarity on a different aspects of the healing journey. Today, I'm going to show you subtle but apparently normal behaviors that often go unnoticed but reveal emotional wounds we haven't never addressed. Some of them might surprise you, some might feel way too familiar. So stay with me because this might just be the video that helps you make sense of a lot of more than you expected. These sexual behavior are common and most people don't even realize they are trauma responses. Let's start. Number one, people pleasing. You say yes even when you are exhausted. You offer help even when no one wants ask. You apologize for everything. You smile through discomfort. You ignore your own needs just to keep others comfortable. You want peace, but often it comes at the cost of yourself. Sometimes you even feel proud of being the dependable ones, the one who never complains, the one who always shows up, the one who always is there, but deep down you are tired, you are resentful, and you don't know how to stop. This is not just kindness. So, where does this pattern come from? For many people, people pleasing start in childhood, in homes where love was conditional, where approval depends on performance or perfection. You learn that saying yes kept things calm, that being helpful earned praise, that not causing conflict meant staying safe. So you became what others needed because no one ever asked what you needed. And over time, that becomes automatic, becomes a reflex, a way of being that says, if I keep everyone happy, maybe they will stay, or maybe I will be safe. But the truth is, you deserve feel safe, being yourself, not just being useful. Number two, fear of abandonment. Sometimes it shows up quietly. You notice it when someone pulls away a little, takes longer to reply, or seems more distant than usual, and suddenly something inside you tightens. You might try to reconnect fast by testing again, explaining yourself, over explaining yourself, or seeking reassurance, even if nothing's really happened. But it's deeper than just anxiety. This kind of fear often grows from early experiences when love didn't feel stable, or where people who were supposed to stay didn't. For some, it started with emotional neglect. A parent who was physically there but emotionally absent, or too overwhelmed with their own pain that didn't notice yours. For others, it was more visible. A parent left, a loss, a childhood spent in foster homes, being passed from one adult to another, never feeling fully wanted. And when that happens early in life, your nervous system adapts. You become hyper aware of distance. You overfunction in relationships. You try to hold people close, even when it hurts, because the idea of being left again feels worse than staying in something that's breaking you. And that's the part people often don't see. This fear can lead you to tolerate things others could never accept. Disrespect, verbal abuse, manipulation, even physical harm. Not because you don't see it, but because a part of you is terrified. But if you speak up, they will leave. And leaving means abandonment again. So you stay, you minimize, you forgive, even when it breaks your self-worth. You might crave constant reassurance, feel intense when your partner withdraws, worry endlessly that something small might be the beginning of the end. Please, don't get me wrong. None of this makes you weak. It makes you human. Someone who have to learn that love wasn't safe. So you cling to anything that looked like it. But here's what's true now. You are not longer that child. You no longer have to beg for closeness or trade your dignity for connection. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear just to keep it close. You deserve the kind of connection that feels like home, not survival. Number three, hyper independence. And this is very common, this one. You might think you have got it all under control. You take care of everything and everyone, but when it comes to needing someone else, you shut down. You have learned to rely only on yourself. You avoid asking for help. You would rather struggle alone than feel vulnerable, because vulnerability feels like weakness, and weakness means you could be abandoned again. You push through, you handle everything yourself. You are proud to be the strongest one. You are proud of how strong you are, but sometimes it feels like you are carrying a weight no one else sees. And yet, when you find yourself in tough situations, you hesitate to let anyone close enough to help. Maybe you even push people away, even though you crave real connection. So, what's behind this hyper independence? For many people, this behavior comes from early childhood when things were not taken care of the way they should have been. Maybe as a child you had to find ways to meet your own needs, even basic things like food or comfort, because your parents or guardians were not there to provide them. Perhaps at a very young age, you had to step up and act as the adult. Maybe you have to take care of younger siblings or even protect your family from outside dangers because no one else was around to help. This was not about growing up too fast for the fun of it. This was survival. You didn't have the lecture of childhood because you had to handle things no child should ever have to. When children face these kinds of circumstances, they learn to depend on themselves. Often because they don't have other choice. So they develop an internal belief that they must always be independent because they cannot rely on anyone else. This belief doesn't go away easily. And as an adult, you continue to carry the weight even when the situation is different, even when people are there for you, when people are there to help you, you hesitate. You would rather deal with it yourself than risk being let down. But there is the truth. You are not alone anymore. You don't have to keep carrying all of it by yourself. True independence is not about being alone. It's about knowing when to reach out and accept help. You can still be strong without having to be alone in everything. Number 4, overreacting to small triggers. It happens when something small like a raised voice or a minor disagreement causes a big emotional reaction like anger, anxiety, even tears. You are crying for that situation. People might think you are too sensitive, but the truth is, it's all about all emotional wounds from the past. If you grew up in an environment where there was violence, emotional neglect, or even a strict, unpredictable punishment from parents, your brain learned to be constantly on alert. You didn't know when the next storm could come. So, even as an adult, I still react like there is a danger around there in every corner. This is your body trying to protect you from the past hurt. You overreact because deep down, you are still carrying the pain and fear from a time when you couldn't predict when things will go wrong. But now you can start to heal through awareness and self-compassion. You can learn to separate past fears from present situations and respond more calmly to what's in front of you. Number 5, emotional numbness. Let me put a real example. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who seems emotionally distant, or work with a colleague who always stands apart from the group, someone who doesn't engage, avoids emotional conversations, and seems unaffected even by things that should normally move a person? Maybe you have thought they just don't care, or nothing seems to affect them. But what if that emotional distance wasn't about being cold, but about all old emotional pain? Emotional numbness can look like apathy, indifference, or coldness. It's not always visible as pain sometimes. It hides behind silence, distance, or disconnection. And it's easy to assume it's just their personality, but often it's not a personality trait. It's a protective response to trauma. If you ever felt emotionally shut down yourself, like no matter what's happening, joy, sickness, stress, you just feel flat or disconnected, as if you are watching your life instead of living it. This is emotional numbness, a coping mechanism your mind builds when the emotional pain becomes too much. It's the brain's way of saying, if I cannot stop the hurt, I will stop feeling. This often comes from childhood, when someone experiences emotional neglect, abuse, or constant invalidation. When a child's feelings were ignored, minimized, or even punished, if child emotion lead to rejection, criticism, or danger, the safest thing to do was to shut down those emotions. And even as adults, that protective pattern can remain. The person might not feel safe expressing emotions, so they feel little or nothing at all. They may not cry, laugh, or show affection easily, not because they don't care, but because feeling is too risky. But emotional numbness doesn't just block out pain, it also blocks out joy, love, and connection. It builds a world that not only protects but also isolates. So, with time, compassion, self awareness, people can start to reconnect with their emotions slowly. Healing is about giving yourself permission to feel again and reminding yourself that it's safe to be present, safe to feel, and safe to let love in. Just check my other chapter, the previous one, that already I talked about some therapies that can help you to process emotions. Please, again, just check the previous chapter. Number 6, overthinking. Have you ever find yourself replaying conversations over and over, wondering if you said the wrong thing, analyzing everything, every silence, every reaction over and over and over? This is overthinking. And while it may look like anxiety or perfectionism, it's just a trauma response. Many people who overthink grew up in environments where making a mistake had consequences. Emotional withdrawal, punishment, rejection, or humiliation. So now, as adults, their mind stayed on high alert, trying to prevent anything that could lead to disconnection or conflict. It's a way of trying to feel in control in a world that once felt unsafe. But living in your head constantly like that is exhausting. It's a still peace, presence. Healing starts when you realize you are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are allowed to rest, to speak without fear, and to let go of the idea that one wrong word could cost you love or some else. Number 7, travel trusting calm. Have you ever noticed that when everything seems fine, you start feeling anxious? Like you are waiting for something bad to happen. For some people, peace doesn't feel safe. It feels unfamiliar because chaos was their normal. If you grew up in a home where there was yelling, tension, your nervous system adapted to that environment. So now in adulthood, silence can feel threatening. Stability can feel like something's about to go wrong. It's not that you don't want calm, is that your body doesn't know how to relax into it. But here's the truth: you deserve peace. You deserve to feel safe even when things are quiet. And the calm you are afraid of might just be the healing you have been needing all along. 8. Self sabotage. Have you ever noticed yourself pushing people away when things start going well? Or maybe you delay a bit opportunity, procrastinate on an important goal, or convince yourself you are not ready. Right when success is within reach, this is self sabotage. It's not because you don't want happiness or progress. It's because a part of you shaped by trauma doesn't feel safe with it. Many people who have experienced neglect, rejections, or constant criticism growing up internalize that belief that good things are not for them. They are not worthy of them. So when calm or success shows up, it doesn't feel familiar. It feels threatening. And the mind try to protect you, might convince you to ruin it before it gets ruined anyway. So you might tell yourself, start with these distorted thoughts that they will live anyway. I don't deserve this. That, of course, is not true. It's just trauma talking. But healing means recognizing it and choosing treatment in help. 9. Struggling to receive love. Sometimes the hardest thing is not giving love, it's receiving it. Have you ever felt uncomfortable when someone shows you care, compliments you, or simply wants to be close? Do you push it away, joke it off, or doubt their intentions? This response often comes from deep emotional wounds. If in childhood love was inconsistent, conditional, or tied to performance, or if love was used as a reward or punishment, the real healthy love in adulthood can feel strange or even unsafe. Your nervous system may interpret love not as something good but as something suspicious or overwhelming. You might think, what do they really want? Or if they get too close, they will see the real me and leave. So you keep people at a distance, or you find yourself only comfortable in relationships where you have to earn love, not just receive it. But the truth is, you are worthy of love. Gentle, safe, unconditional love, even if your past taught you otherwise. Healing means learning to accept it slowly, one moment of trust at a time. And the last one that I would like to discuss, difficulty staying present. When someone struggles to stay present, it often appears as emotional detachment. They might avoid getting involved in situations where they could provide support or help, especially in times of difficulty. Let's bring examples of the real life. For example, a partner, or even with the family, or even in the workplace, when the things get tough and you need someone there, that person is not available. They make excuses or simply are not present when you need them the most. This is not necessarily because they don't care, but because they are emotionally distancing themselves as a defense mechanism. This behavior can come from the past experiences where they felt emotionally overwhelmed or hurt. So, when faced with a similar situation, then unconsciously pull away to protect themselves from the emotions they fear will come back. They avoid getting too involved, offering minimal support or help because the situation, like I say, brings back memories of past trauma, something they cannot tolerate or they don't want to experience again. For those on the receiving end, it might feel like the person doesn't care or is being distant, but the reality is that they are using avoidance to protect themselves from emotional pain. It's a coping strategy, not a reflection of their intentions, but it can leave others feeling unsupported in their time of need. Of course, this doesn't apply to people who simply avoid responsibility out of convenience or lack of care. We are talking about individuals who, without not out of disregard, but because certain situations emotionally overwhelm them, often tied to past trauma. If you saw yourself in any of these, you are not broken. You adapted. And those adaptations protected you until now. But healing is possible. And it starts with awareness, like this, like right here. If any of these felt close to home, please know you are not broken. These are not flaws. They are adaptations and they made sense at the time. But now you deserve peace. You deserve to feel safe in your body, in your mind, in your relationships. Healing takes time, but it starts with time in awareness. And you are already there. And that's why when you interact with someone who seems distant, reactive, cold, or emotional, try not to take it personal. Not everything people do is about you. Sometimes it's about the battles that they are fighting inside, about the pain they haven't yet healed. We all walk through life carrying invisible wounds, and often what we see on the outside, irritability, withdrawal, coldness, is just a reflection of what's hurting on the inside. So, instead of reacting or judging too quickly, be open to understanding, not assumption. And most of all, choose compassion. Be kind. Because the truth is, most people are not trying to hurt you. They are just trying to protect themselves. As a psychiatrist, I often treat conditions like anxiety, depression, adjustment disorders, substance use disorders, somatic symptom disorders, and even psychotic disorders. But what's not always said is that behind these diagnoses, there are unresolved emotional wounds, life experiences that were not fully processed and that continue to shape the way people feel, think, and relate to others. Not everything that hurts becomes a mental illness, but many behaviors that seem like just personality are actually ways people learn to survive pain. And in psychiatry, we also understand that. That's why I speak about this topic, because you cannot truly treat mental health conditions without acknowledging human suffering, without talking about trauma. If this video helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. And let me know in the comments which part hit you the hardest. Thank you.